Well, good afternoon. Happy Sunday to everybody. We decided to go live and we wanted some things to talk about. So we got Eric in the building, we got Sunshine over there, and we got Liv. We call them bluebirds sometimes, bluebirds. But yeah.
Eh, only that sissy does. He wouldn't
Okay,
say it to
here
my
we go.
face.
Only who?
Okay,
He knows better. You know where to
here
find
we
me,
go.
cocksucker.
Mm.
Sorry, folks. Let me mute.
90210.
So appreciate you doing that, Kay. I think everybody
Oh,
does.
no problem.
Yeah, most
No
certainly.
problem.
I think it's kind of ironic that I know you know a lot of people, and I remember when I met you and Eric, and we
Yeah.
all met Sunshine later, and I remember there were so many people know you, and so many people had so much to fucking say when we all met 2 years ago, and we told them that it would. Well, some of us told them that it would lead to realities that they wouldn't like in the end. And they were just giddy and happy about it. And now here we are. And at least you, sis, it is kind of fitting that a woman would go live on Fuckery Edition because
Mhm.
it was women in the beginning of 2017 that led the charge.
It sure was.
All the men sat on their fucking hands and twirled their thumbs and tried to coon like that roach over there with those babblers or other people. And it led to all of this. And all jokes aside,
Mm-hmm.
I bet you no one would be laughing, joking, or giggling if that was your niece or nephew sitting in a fucking dog cage. I
Mm.
bet you no one would be laughing or joking if you were a dependent military family living in a fucked up housing situation, worse than the projects or equivalent to it. And you just got told there'll be no renovations. We won't be removing any mold because we got to put up a wall. Too many brown people coming over, right? So I just, that's a rambling thank you, Kay, because too many people since we met are fucking hiding. And they always,
Mm.
everything's boring, right? It's boring and the political and da da da. Well, it's grown folk shit. So all
Mm-hmm.
you twerkers and babblers and everything, you let us here. Now what?
Yeah.
Can't talk about it? Where's the grown folk at? Nobody want to talk? Nobody got nothing to say? I know you hate Kamala Harris. Uh, you, you hate Congressman Cortez. You know, we know you coons, lambone, serpente, as the Italians say, this, that, and the. But you got nothing to say against Charlottesville. You got nothing to say against all Ann Coulters. You got nothing to say against all of your cooning and buffooning that led us here. Treason in the open, goose
See?
stepping, and Nazis everywhere. Nobody got nothing to say. What's going on? I guess that's the end of my drunk rant.
What
Mm-hmm.
you was drinking on?
Yeah. What are you sipping?
That extra proof tea,
Oh,
45 proof.
shit. Oh, hell no.
You silly.
I want my CBD.
So you went live and everybody sees it. I don't know what everybody's so skittish about, but what was your first impressions when you saw? Did you know that a state of emergency? Did anybody know that a state of emergency was going to be declared, or were you? Did you just wake up to it on
I
a Friday?
knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what. I knew he was
I
going to do
didn't
something.
even know that was gonna happen
Definitely
either.
felt that he was going to do something, but I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? I felt like he was going to do something, though, for sure.
Hmm.
And then he declared state of emergency. And yeah, you said it so poetically. A state of
Thank
emergency
you.
on himself. For real,
He
folks. Wake up.
Yeah.
Hello. Are
he is the
anybody
emergency.
home? He is
Yeah.
the emergency. Exactly. And then he leaves and goes and plays golf. Hello.
I was just about to say that because you hit me up going off
Hello,
like, I don't understand
people.
why this motherfucker just went to go play golf and nigga. state of emergency shit. I said,
What the F, yo?
the hell?
Wake up, people. Wake up.
Hmm. So why would that be
Stop
done?
sleeping. Stop sleeping.
Like, I don't understand why. I just, I don't get it.
Folks are sleeping.
I mean, I get him. I don't get us.
I think
I
they're
don't
just
get us.
numb to hit that guy.
I don't even. I'm not sure, Srila. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
I think
Maybe
they're
you're right.
numb. Like it's just like it's he just wants to hear himself talk all the time, and everything that comes out of his mouth, if his lips are moving, he's lying. Facts, folks.
I was just bringing up to my buddies when I was chilling with them earlier. I said it was a guy. My buddy had said. He said, "Man, the real followers they watch every single move." I said, "Yeah," because it was this guy, and I was looking at on YouTube, and he was like, he called out maybe about 4,500 lies since he's been in office.
Yeah, everything
Wow,
that comes out
man.
I
of
was
his
like,
mouth is a
hell
lie.
no. But yeah,
If
when they
his
watch,
Wow.
lips is
when you a follower, you watch down to the bone, to the T.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. If his lips is moving, he's a liar. Liar lips. He's got liar lips.
Liar lip.
That's what I call him. Liar lips.
Liar lip.
You know,
Liar lips. Okay, liar lips. When that sucks to be okay, let's hear some more liar lips.
Alec Baldwin, I think he says it whenever he does a skit. He says, and his mouth looks like a little butthole.
It does. He's a butthole and looks like a butthole. So ignorant. What is wrong with that guy? Like, get it together, dude.
Well,
He thinks he's like on a show, like it's a movie for him or something. Like that's his mentality is ridiculous. The
well,
mentality of him is
what does
just
it, honestly, we all know. I mean, those of us who see that, we know that. But what do you think the problem is? Like, or maybe that's the wrong way to ask it.
why is everybody afraid that's around him?
I don't think they're
Stand
afraid.
up.
I don't think they're afraid. I think they're
What the
liars.
hell is going on?
This is the crowd that used to say things like, they're great believers that they can say a lie long enough and it will become true. And
It never will. It's a lie.
but the
Sorry.
silence of the public at large kind of leads them to believe that it is true. But that's fake silence
He
because
thinks everything he says is true. He believes his own bullshit.
when Charlottesville happened, no one knew, in a sense. Like, it was kind of promoted only among the alt-right and the treasonous circles. The treason circles made a big deal of it, and only the immediate people in that area or attached to those issues knew. Thus, you had the college kids out there, and they were the only ones protecting the old people. Like, all the rabbis and priests and all of that, Cornell West and all of them, they weren't with the college kids and the anti-fascists who, they're kind of confused, but they are, they're the only ones that I've seen confused college kids standing up to gray coats and stuff while America sat on its hands. But if you pay attention, 12 months later, they tried to do it again. They tried to come to the nation's capital, and this time the whole country knew. And Americans showed up. Black, white, Democrat, Republican, by the thousands. And the sissies canceled their little hate fest and ran behind minority police officers begging for exit routes to the subway and to to Amtrak or whatever to get out of the city. So I know there's still red, white, and blue pumping through the veins of the American public at large, but I don't understand why there's so much tolerance for the bullshit that leads us to this point. It may be okay when someone kicks the door open that you have a few men and women who will grab a hold of them or will move to the person and say, try to get control of the situation before they hurt everybody. But doesn't that mean that they're late Shouldn't those people have said something when they were looking out the window at their cocktail party, looking at sissies getting themselves all riled up and lying and getting themselves juiced up in the street? Shouldn't you do something or say something before they come across the street and walk into your place? In other words, shouldn't we be more engaged as a population? Why do we always have to wait until a Charlottesville? We have to wait until a Charlottesville. We have to wait until Putin does something. We have to wait until an emergency over bullshit is declared. And now everyone wants to, everyone's upset. Shouldn't we be upset at ourselves maybe first?
Yes.
Yes.
For letting it go on as long as we have. We should be disappointed in ourselves.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
What I did notice is that when everybody was meeting and talking 2 years ago, that's what led a lot of people to talk. When everybody got to know each other, I did notice that there was a lot of engagement, a lot of discussion, a lot of this, that, and the other. And it seems like for most of it, everyone was dead wrong.
Ships everywhere.
Right? And now there's been silence for 24 straight months. Two years ago, around this time, we were close to Valentine's Day, and it was the Valentine's Day Massacre. You watched Mikey Flynn, so-called decorated officer in the United States Army, basically be outed for treason. Basically. And I do mean that basically legally as well. The reason that wasn't charged and shit is because he rolled immediately. Immediately he rolled. Immediately. And by doing so, he did not catch the treason charge that his own fucking judge spoke of just a few weeks ago. About a month or so ago, right?
Yeah.
So where's all the babblers, where's all these roaches that led us here? Where they at? I hear people want to do like... whatever. Did we lose Shaolin too?
Lose who?
Yeah, I didn't even see. I didn't even look at the fucking app. I just seen. I think it's just us here.
Oh, Eric is. Yeah, I see him in the chat.
I'm doing a turmeric and cinnamon and ginger and honey. Half milk, half almond.
Well, that sounds very sweet and good, but I don't think that goes with the hostess's title, Fuckery Edition. That is not fuckery.
Sorry.
Good food and chilling. That is not fuckery to me. That's kind of what we all need. Definitely with my eating out all the time, stupid ass needs.
Yeah. I started cooking lately.
Yeah, I'm cooking more now too.
Oh, don't worry. I've been a little stupid since partying from the holidays. You know, once you start drinking, you think you're young again. Start eating McDonald's every day.
Power of the drink. I make you think that shit.
So you wake up on a day like this, and your liver and shit is talking to you like, I need some vegetables.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna cook for the week though.
So good, you guys. This ginger root. Ah, beautiful.
So that seems like a pretty short one.
Mm.
Oh.
Well, what do you think, chap? Like, just to put something on the table. One of the biggest things that everyone was waiting for was some type of culminating event. And we had like a real beautiful introduction in which all the breadcrumbs were laid out by Devil Dog Muller. And they were laid out for 2 years. I remember when the Russian indictment came down with all of those Russian intelligence officers listed on the indictment, and everyone said, why would he charge them, knowing that they're not going to be extradited because not only are they Russian citizens, but they are active duty Russian military intelligence officers. There's no way the Kremlin is going to extradite them to stand trial.
No.
Now, if you recall, and whoever's fucking listening now or whenever, if she puts it up or something, if you recall, and go Google it. Ain't that what the kids say? Google it.
Yeah.
When the indictment came down with the 13 Russians or however many it was, that was released during the Helsinki embarrassment, where he went there and did what no Western, let alone American president has ever done. No one came close to that type of appeasement in the face of an adversary since Chamberlain with Hitler, right? No one went over and rolled over like that. So he did that. And the day that he was going to meet with Dr. Evil over there, by the way, he said he didn't want any Americans around. American president said he didn't want anybody around. One interpreter, and he took her notes. Right?
Yeah.
Swore her to secrecy. Undoubtedly, he threatened her with, all types of legal ramifications if she does anything.
Oh, of course.
So, but here's the thing. A couple of hours before he walked in to meet his boss, V. Putin, the indictments came down out of the United States government, being represented by Devil Dog Mueller.
Yeah.
The indictments came, and they weren't at him. They were at the Russians. And that was kind of, I think, a gesture. That might have been Mueller's hope that an American president, chief executive of the law, commander-in-chief would do the right thing. You're coming up to the guy who hacked us and has been fucking with us for years before the election. He was hoping that if he laid out the case in the indictment, maybe, just maybe, the American president would add some bone to that cartilage he calls a spine and would bring it up with Mr. Putin. And the world will forever remember what he said. He said it right next to him. He said, I see no reason why it would be Putin.
Right, yeah.
To the shock and dismay of every news agency on planet Earth, including those in Moscow. Those were the people in the front row, smiling and laughing. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some of them were terrified. But that's what happened. Now, when he released that, every greatcoat in America, every goose stepper in America and Europe, and all of their pets, that would be those people who are so-called people of color and people of immigrant descent, and people who are Caucasian who claim to be patriots. You're a fucking token. You're a coon. Yeah, essentially, you're with the rest of them. Another roach. All of them said this was a purposeless indictment. It's against Russian military officers. They're never going to come here. What's the point? Roger Stone, that sissy, was indicted at the close, shortly, right? The opening of this year, he was indicted, right? Rolled on him in Florida. And here's the funny fucking thing. Anybody who's been through a criminal process, you might know a thing or two about this. The feds attached Roger Stone's indictment not to Manafort, not to Gates, not to any of the other indictments, not to Cohen. They attached it to an indictment they released a year ago with the Russians. His case is direct. He's an American citizen, friend of this fake president, and his case is directly attached to what the feds say via military and intelligence agency reports. They say that they have direct communications between Pinocchio over there, the old man, Roger Stone. He looks like some type of puppet or something. Direct communications between him and Russian military intelligence and WikiLeaks, setting the whole thing up. Now, the feds just made this clear in public. Are they lying? What type of corroboration would they have to say that about anybody, even a scumbag on the street, or else the scumbag walks, even if he's connected? Let alone for you to say that about a political sissy with a Nixon tattoo on his back who's been involved in gray coat political fuckery for 30 plus years and happens to be a close confidant of the current character sitting in the Oval Office. For you to roll on him takes a lot of balls as a federal agent, first of all. You better have your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And then for you to attach his case to a foreign adversary's military wing, in which you allege in that indictment that not only did they break U.S. and Russian law, they broke the law because they are active duty military, they broke international law. You effectively performed a hostile act on the United States without a declaration of war. And they attached this fucker's indictment to him, and they're saying they got direct communications between him and them, and WikiLeaks says to form the trifecta.
Mhm.
Where's the lackeys and bootlickers who walked us down this path? Huh? Because you can't turn to nothing else. Nothing. Everything, even in your entertainment, 21 Savage, all of that, everything is, everything's finding its way to plug into the grapevine.
Yeah.
Everybody had so much to say 2 years ago. Where you at? That's what me as a listener, that's what I want to know. Because you guys heard me 2 years ago. I'll fall back muted.
Shit.
Well, Charlene, you got this indictment now. What do you think?
Mhm.
The feds are saying they got direct communication.
What I think right now,
So, in the process of getting things done, or
You know what happens?
Well,
You know what happens when the feds make a fed? I don't know whoever's gonna be listening to this or whatever. I know you may know, Eric, but you know what happens when you get a case? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
the slick talkers or the ones who listen to all that bullshit and think they whatever. Catch a
Yeah.
case, son. Catch a case, son. Well, let me tell you when you
Yeah.
catch a fucking case. When you catch a fucking Fed case, do you know what it is for the feds to put something in black and white and say that they know this, that, and the other? Do you know what happens if they even misspell your fucking name on official documents? It's a big deal.
Oh yeah, name scratching.
Why do you think we say shit like allegedly? What do you think that's for? It's to prevent liability.
Yeah.
So you know what type of legal liability the feds puts themselves in when they have a criminal complaint against you and they say they know XYZ and they make it clear publicly. They got to stand by that, because if they don't, the entire fucking thing doesn't turn to sand. It turns to ashes. It goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
It flies away faster than dandelions. And this ain't just a regular, organized crime. This ain't like, like regular shit or something. This is at the highest levels of government
Oh
of the
yeah.
strongest nation on earth.
That means, when you catch a federal case, that means that the national government is after you.
So,
That's
They
why we
after
call it the
you.
feds.
Yeah, they after you, and they after you hard, and they gonna get you.
So this is not the feds attacking one of their adversaries, so to speak, someone making money on the street or some organization that is too strong. This is the feds attempting to cut out a cancer, but it's in the crown of their head because it's sitting at the White House.
Mm-hmm.
It's very delicate doing exploratory surgery if you're talking about brain surgery.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This person just declared a national emergency, and yeah, the American people is one thing, but the whole of the United States government knows it to be untrue. He wouldn't even cite the sources because there is no sources, whether FBI, CIA, immigration, ICE, Coast Guard, DOD. There are no sources which support this.
mhm.
But he's declaring a national emergency, which gives him extra constitutional powers.
Yes, indeed.
I bet you don't see one torch in the street. No one's upset. The Tiki Torch characters came out pissed off about a statue. We're talking about usurping the Constitution, what they claimed Obama was doing for 8 years. Wasn't the black helicopter supposed to be coming? Cling to their guns and their Bibles. They said he's coming. What happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
What's going on now?
Yeah, and when they start, and the thing about it is though, is when they start implement eminent domain, because they're gonna have to, because in building that wall, they've got to go through people's private land. As I was saying to Sunshine earlier, ranchers who are raising livestock,
This breaks my
farm,
heart.
farmers who are anywhere, who have land anywhere along that borderline, where Orange Man is talking about building that wall. If this actually goes into effect, believe me, there are going to be many areas where eminent domain is going to be declared to put that wall up.
Yep.
There has to be, because it has to go through people's land. You see what I'm saying?
It's heartbreaking to me.
You know what? I saw a picture today that I actually still disagree with. It was a picture of the Native Americans putting up a wall of the border of that Mexico or whatever. And me and my friend was saying, I said, I still disagree with this picture. Even though they say the Native Americans, like, this should have been done years ago or some shit like that. And I was thinking, at first I told my friend, I said, well, should it have been this way? I said, what was the problem with the Mexicans? He said, well, you got to remember, that West Coast really is Mexico. That California shit? I said, yep. I said, I think about that. I said, but why they got the Native Americans putting up that wall?
Why?
I'm going to find that picture. I'm going to post it.
They're because you know why? The Native Americans are always seen as the emblem of the most oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, hey, listen, bury my heart on Wounded Knee. That shit's real.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I was reading the book. I read the book, and it got to the point where I had to close it. I couldn't stand to read it. And that book, Bury My Heart on Wounded Knee, written by the author's name is D. Brown, and he writes primarily about this, situation with the Native Americans here. So, see, if they put the Native Americans up like that, okay, we'll suppress people and say, okay, well, they're about building the wall, to keep Mexicans and whoever else out. They think that that's a good image, that it promotes the building of this wall. It promotes this idea of national emergency in order to build it. So it's useless and exploitations of people's misery. Sometimes it works.
And then they were telling me how the year 1828, people says the definition of American, a native of American, originally applied to the orange. Oh shit, can't say it.
Aboriginal.
Yep. Or copper colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So when did it flip? Is what we were, talking about. And they was like, they said 1942. And I'm like, that's a long motherfucking time before we start switching up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
I mean, if you think about it,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, if you really want to go that far back, if you think about it, the Europeans who were escaping the the high priests and the dictatorial rulers of Europe, when they came over, they called themselves settlers, right?
Mhm.
Now, now when they came in the set, now you can't call yourself a settler and get a part of land and say, okay, well, this is ours now, and we don't want you in here.
Uh-huh.
And that's what the Pilgrims did
Yep.
to the Native Americans of the day. And if you think about it, the people who put
Pillaged.
the people who put the smallpox in the blankets that they gave to the Native Americans,
Yeah.
some people, those people came as settlers out of Europe. Okay,
Mhm.
and when you have people, you come over, and these people are teaching you skills so that you don't starve.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then kill them.
Yeah, and you turn around and you kill them off and say, okay, well, we learned enough that we need to learn from you.
Yep.
Farming and hunting and shooting wild game, following them and what have you. That type of thing, determining on where you live, and how you're going to earn your living, how you're going to feed yourself and house yourself, all this type of shit.
And we slaughtered buffaloes just to slaughter them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, think about it. I mean, in the 1960s, and 70s, and 80s,
So
uh,
disgusting. It breaks
what
my.
they what they used to do, rich Europeans, rich Americans, Australians, and the like, what they used to do, they used to go to the continent of Africa, right? And they did their sport hunting, right?
Mhm.
They killed rhinoceros,
Yep.
they killed the big cats,
Yep.
um,
Trophy,
it
trophy,
is
trophy, trophy.
trophy. That's
Trophy
right,
hunting.
yeah. The problem with that though is this though.
Disgusting.
It
When
is.
they start when they started doing that in the 20th century, okay, um, going over doing that shit, most of the countries on the continent of Africa were so-called independent, right? But they were linked to, there's still quite a few countries that are linked to France. Okay, they were colonized by France, and France even made a currency that the people of those countries on the continent of Africa have to use. And guess what? The currency has no worth. Are you listening to me?
Say that
Yeah.
again.
The currency itself is imposed upon countries in Africa. I don't remember all the countries by name, but when France basically um, gave up being a colonizer on the continent, they colonized the continent from the motherland, from France. Think about the shit that happened in Rwanda, okay, in '95. Okay, the Belgians were
Yeah.
running Rwanda. There was no Rwandan government running Rwanda. Hell no. The Belgians were doing it. And what they do, whoever seemed like had the stronger hand, whether it was the Hutu or the Tutsi,
Bloodshed.
they took the side, right? And they stuck by the strong man. But the strong man still had to do what the monarch of France said he had to do. Okay, well, fine, all right. So now you're in charge. Now these people, right? Hutu and Tutsis, same culture, Rwandan culture, same culture, African Rwandan culture. Okay, they spoke the damn same language. Okay, the only way that you could really distinguish these people is that if you looked at them real hard, maybe they looked a little bit different.
Right.
Okay, but I mean, other than that, these people, these people were one and the same group and cultural people who were split, divide and rule. It's been going on for millennia. It's
Yep.
going on right now.
Amen.
Ain't nothing changed.
No,
Nope.
it didn't change.
You just hear about it more often now because people do get online. You do have some people who get online who speak on this. And the people who get online and those people who get online and speak on this, yeah, they usually have what they usually have is this. They usually don't have a YouTube channel. But what they'll do is they'll have their talks and their speeches and things like that on YouTube, and they'll show a video. Sometimes the video will be quite long because they're quite involved. Sometimes the video will be like 20, 30 minutes. Um, and they have a lot to say. Um, One guy that I tend to put some trust in what he says is Chris Hedges. And Chris Hedges, what he was talking about was what happened when industry left the U.S. industries that we know of, steel, whether steel, coal, whatever the case may be, but the industry as far as building stuff and on American soil, what have you, when the industry left because it was cheaper to do it other places where you can work people all week long. You can work with the young women in the Philippines. You can work them for um, you can work them for 12 hours, 16 hours a day. They're away from their children 6 days out of a 7 day week. They don't get to see their children long enough to make sure that their children are alive. Perhaps that they get fed, they get bathed, that type of thing. Okay, and if their kids are in school, they get into school. But then after that, in the next week, they don't see him. Um, this type of shit was the same type of shit that was happening throughout the 20th century in the U.S. when primarily men, working age men, and all of them wasn't South deployed. You had some people who were North deployed, okay, and they came over and they were exploited for decades. And finally, people started talking about it, and then people said, that okay, well, wait a minute, time out. The farmers and the vintners and the cattle ranchers and whatnot, they said, well, wait a minute, time out. Why not exploit this labor? It's cheaper. They're willing to work all day. They're desperate for work. We put them in one place in the border town and say, okay, well, I need 10 men. I'm going to pay you $30 to work today. Okay. And what happens? They work a 10 to 12 hour day, make $30 to send back to their families. Eating. That's what they were doing. They were exploited. It was kept on a hush hush. Um, as far as the politics of it was concerned, as far as U.S. constitutional law was concerned, they kept it hush hush. And the thing about it, as far as I see it, okay, in that short, let's say short 50-year blip of history from the 60s up to now, okay, what they did was people started bitching and moaning, right? Because why? Well, Americans didn't have jobs, and people were homeless and this, that, and the other. And then when the farmers and the veterans came out and they said, listen, the Confederates said, listen, Americans are too spoiled. They're not willing to do this work. Certainly not going to work for the salaries that we're paying these Mexican men. And they lived in horrible conditions. Now, of course, the men are not going to complain about the deplorable conditions. Why? Because they're desperate. They're desperate to get work, to earn some money to send home to their families. And now, all these years later, now people would have been Jamon, okay? Now people want to talk about M13. M13 ain't gonna do shit. People have been coming to the United States from El Salvador for decades.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, it's a new thing, you know. And then now when Trump talks about keeping people out and having this national emergency, and eventually will lead to eminent domain if they actually build this wall. Um, my like I said, my problem with this is that when President Barack Obama, okay, when they brought reports out about how many people President Barack Obama reported, they had a nice little funny fuzzy name for him, the Porter in Chief, when Obama did it. Okay, but now, um, now all of a sudden it's a big national emergency. Why couldn't the orange man talk with former President Obama and say, okay, well, why are you deporting all these people? Right? What's the purpose? You know, what's the cause? Why didn't he have a sit down with him and talk with him and find out why Barack Obama was deporting so many people? So the thing about it is that former President Obama, he knew there was a situation, he knew that there was a problem. Okay, but now all of a sudden, Orange Man and I gotta agree. I gotta agree with Warren. You know, the Great Coast now, you know, they want to back him and say that it's such a major problem right now. No, it was a major problem in the 1960s when these people were first exploited because of their misery and their poverty in their own home country. And then U.S. government people want to talk about, oh yeah, but we gave billions upon billions of dollars to these countries over the last few decades. Yeah, and U.S. government exploited uh, these countries as well and held up dictators. Pinochet comes to mind. They killed people who wanted to bring um, democracy. Dr. Salvador Allende comes to mind in Bolivia. They killed him off. Um, you know, so
Mm.
I mean, there's a lot of history there, and I'm bouncing from place to place, but I'm trying to connect things together, you know, just to give us an understanding that this shit's not new, you know.
Nope.
And I'm me myself. I'm waiting for Mueller's report right now because without that report and the information in it, okay, and the implementation of any arrests, perhaps in the future, and resignation. Um, until that comes out, I don't see much of anything changing. I really don't. Because if anything is changing, it's changing for the worse, not the better.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while before things shape up. And then I don't even know if they get the chance to. We was discussing the moon last week on how the crescent was at the bottom. We
Mm,
ain't never seen a moon like that. My
mm,
mechanic goes, we done screwed this world up.
mhm.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's so I mean, me personally, that's I'm waiting for Mueller's report and see what happens after that because I really don't see things changing a whole hell of a lot uh, until Mueller speaks his
Mm. Well, welcome back, Liz. Mm. Trying to think what else was we talking about earlier today. CBD takes over and you just relax your mind. You don't even remember much.
Mm,
You don't want to remember much.
mm.
I'm sorry, I feel too good. I put up my cute little shower curtain and everything.
Mm. Yeah, it's just you know,
Do you think he'll
I,
you think Trump will get reelected anyway?
um, me myself, I think that it's a foregone conclusion that he will not. But
Mm.
like I say, I think a lot of it hinges on Mueller's report. Even if he lasts his full term now, let alone being elected to a second term.
I don't know. I think
I
there's a
think
lot of people that want him to get reelected.
yeah,
I'm
I
sure there
agree.
are. I'm sure there are.
I I think that a lot of what we've seen and what I spoke to when we initially started talking, I think
Mhm,
because of and this sounds incredibly fucked up and vain, but we all literally lived it.
mhm,
I think because of all of that uh, unbecoming shit that we saw from everyone when we first started talking and how they ushered in all of this, you know,
mhm.
embarrassing shit.
Yeah.
I think that rather, even though they see how bad it is, when they saw the orange flames in Charlottesville, when they saw, children screaming for their mothers getting thrown into cages, when they saw everything that they saw the past 2 years, the darker it got. When the market started falling head over heels, got used to 6 and 7 and 1,000 point drops, the worst drops in stock market history happened in the past 2 years. This is all fake money and fake living that we're living off of, literally. But it's all right. But I think seeing how devastatingly wrong and how malicious their characters are. Like we saw the rise of incels. Mankind, since Adam and Eve, for thousands of years, you've never been able to control the hormones of men and women. You've never been able to stop, life from getting together or people wanting at some point to want to be with each other. And for the
Mhm,
first time, we see openly this beyond MAGTOW or anything like this. Even that sounded sideways to me when it came out, but it's
yeah.
manifested into an incel wave now. Now there's incels, like these are males, usually young or some older sissies who could never get right, and they have a hatred for women, not
Oh yeah.
gay or homo,
Oh yeah.
whatever. They hate
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
idea of a woman, like anything, literally. Now, we saw this rise in the past 2 years. For the first
Mhm,
time ever in human history, you got especially young males to say fuck women. Not only
mhm,
that, but you started getting so-called grown people to look the other way on pedophilia. They
mhm.
almost selected Roy Moore until, you know,
Yeah.
the
Mhm,
women, primarily the black women in Alabama, said fuck no, right? They put
mhm.
someone accused of rape, nonetheless, on the Supreme Court. All of this happened in 2 years, and what it tells me is that just like any, herb or chump or sissy or anything like this, unbecoming person, a coward, anything like this, they never come around to seeing the light. The more light they see, the more aware they are of how fucked up they are. And what I mean here is serious. My long-winded ass. What I mean is the more they see how malicious, dark, and wrong they are, they double down on it because embarrassments of some type. They're so deluded that they will walk into fire rather than say, "Okay, I chose the wrong path." More importantly, that They won't just destroy themselves, but they'll destroy this whole bitch and everybody with it, just because they don't want to be wrong. Or rather, they don't want to be right. I don't know. You take your choice. But because of that, I think there's a great deal of people who want him to get reelected. But it's not up to that. Honestly. This person is sets himself against him and his type. And you see him, behind him, you should only see tiki torches. And their pets. And behind and above all of them, you should see this nation's adversaries who are laughing their ass off. Some wearing turbans like very real billionaires, not like his fake ass, real billionaires like Saudi princes who will dice you up like you're in a fucking, like this is back in the days and you walked into the wrong bar. And on the other side, you're a bunch of Russian oligarchs. Fat cat Chinese looking at him, telling him, go fuck yourself. All of our enemies sit above these sissies who led us here, these goose steppers, gray coats, and their pets, and their orange patsy here. And because of that, you would think that more people would say, absolutely not, there's no way he'll be reelected. But I believe a nation that would allow treason. You already let the hanging Chad shit happen with Bush years ago. That led you directly to Iraq war, and the rest will forever be history worse than Vietnam. We're already 18 years about from then. Huh?
That's sad too.
In this case, you lost your election, and it wasn't just because of fuckery on the inside by the original terrorist, the oldest terrorist in the world, the gray coats of America. It wasn't just that, but it was the Russians, the ones who tried to turn this whole bitch to glass in the last century. For 50 years, we stood aiming at each other, ready to turn the whole bitch into a parking lot, the whole earth. And Mr. Putin, who is he's up in age, he's around this fat bastard's age, he just looks young. He has medals and awards for putting names on the Vietnam Wall. He laughs his ass off when he watches a Trump rally with a bunch of bitches there. And because of that, I think they will double down. I don't think that they will say, oh, we were wrong and this ushered in goose stepping and hate. Why would they turn around now when you, me, the regular Americans, white, black, Spanish, Native American, Asian, whoever, but us regular people, when we have lied to ourselves for generations and allowed the only terrorists to persist in their country, not in Russia, Britain, anywhere else, but here in America, the period of Reconstruction and all of that, it was all about preserving the gray coats, and they come back to bite you in the ass. Not too much longer.
I gotta stop you there because I got to run.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Well, I guess I'll just do my little closing. Thank you. This was the first Fuckery edition. Second edition, we have no clue when it's coming, but I will let you know. And I thank everybody for tuning in, even if it's just for a few seconds. Hopefully you do replay this and learn something from it. Share, like, do what you do. We out. Peace.
Peace, Kay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Sorry for being drunk again, Kay.
Hey, wait. If you was with the brown liquor, I'm all for it. But if you was with that white liquor, I ain't with you.
Racist as a 1940s newspaper. Cat Williams.
You need that brown liquor. Yeah, we out. Peace.